Okay, this is the full-on opposite of last game. Now we're just running people over. Turn 3! This is my board on turn 3. And I get another 5-5 at the end of round. Didn't even use all my mana yet.
Is it the mustache? Who knows?
What's up YouTube and welcome to a Yeti deck. This type of brew has been pretty popular amongst content creators recently, and while it started out as a bit of a meme idea, it turned out to be quite good because of how aggressively you can tech it for the current meta. Reckoning is a pretty cracked card in the current meta because there's a lot of Bandit City Swarm piles, things like Shellfolk, Twisted Fate Nami decks, we have Darkness being popular and so on. All of those just get wiped out completely by Reckoning. At the same time, those decks usually cannot contest your 5-5 Yetis to stop the Reckoning from happening, from going through. Additionally, Culling Strike takes care of a lot of threats right now. Thinking of Nami, thinking of Shelly, thinking of Veigar, for example, just contests a lot of champions as well as value engines in the backline. And we can also help out with cards like Troll Chant or Flash Freeze to be able to remove something like a Shellfolk with Culling Strike as well. Flash Freeze, of course, also very good against Pantheon decks. If you run into a lot of Pantheon, I would go a bit heavier on Flash Freeze and or Three Sisters. And in combination with Culling Strike or Reckoning, we can usually remove the guy pretty consistently. Apart from that, the deck is pretty straightforward. It's a board swarming strategy. But we swarm the board with big stuff, not all of that Bandit City, Yordle, small stuff with like 2/2 stat lines. We just try to spam 5-5s. To do so, let's go through all the Yeti cards first. The obvious synergy between Yeti Yearling and Tall Tales, we can get a 5-5 as early as turn 3. Everrosen Trapper is another pretty consistent way of finding a cheap Enraged Yeti, a 1-mana 5-5. Everrosen Sentry helps to draw into that quite reliably. We have Bjerg that can find a bit more Yetis, and in a lot of matchups we can keep Ancient Yetis in the mulligan so they start reducing their own cost, and we can play them very, very cheaply or even for free later on in the game. Now, Abominable Guardian is kind of what makes this deck a bit unfair at times, especially with the access to cheap Yetis. Let's say Yearling on turn 1, Yearling on turn 2. At the end of turn 2, we can already get one or even multiple Abominable Guardians from the hand. That of course is not super consistent, but at some point in the early or mid game we will fairly consistently get those Guardians for free onto the board. And that is where we take over, just continuously swinging. We'll usually be up trading because our opponent's stuff is smaller. We can protect our units with Troll Chants and Flash Freezes as combat tricks. And also very important, we play a ridiculous amount of card draw in this deck. We play triple Sentries, triple Whispered Words. Reputation, of course, fairly easy to fulfill here because we have so many 5 damage units. And the true star to make sure we don't really run out of steam is, of course, Trifarian Assessor. Will usually draw multiple cards, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's what makes this deck so strong, because we can consistently draw 1-mana 5-5s and squeeze them into turns, whether it's for offensive or defensive purposes. We can still play a lot of cards from our hand cheaply and set up those very explosive turns. Pack Mentality is one of the 2 finishers, Sion being the other one. Of course, we don't really play this card in this deck at all, so Sion usually just levels through summoning units, but with all the Yetis and Abominable Guardians, it is fairly consistent. You will usually have Sion leveled around turn 7, 8, or 9, and then he becomes a menace to deal with. Now, there are quite a few mini-morphs running around in the current meta, so if your opponent can deal with Sion effectively, the other consistent win condition is Pack Mentality. Usually, a deck can only deal either with single big threats, like Sion, or with wide boards like Pack Mentality, and us playing both ensures that we kind of have a somewhat consistent win condition in most matchups. We will very often have a full board stacked with Yetis around turn 7, 8, 9, and making all of them 7 power plus Overwhelm will close out games pretty darn consistently. And yeah, the deck itself is pretty straightforward to play. Just keep some combos in mind, like the Yearling Tall Tales. Sometimes you need to protect the Yearling with a Troll Chant if your opponent plays Mystic Shots or something to make sure this actually goes through and summons a Yeti. And the only thing that can be tricky sometimes is the mulligan. Just keep in mind which deck you're facing if you need something like a Reckoning desperately or Culling Strike for a key target. And then also keep in mind what kind of combos you're looking for. For example, I would only keep Abominable Guardian if I already have a Yearling, and ideally also a Trapper or a Tall Tales. Also think about if you can afford to keep Ancient Yeti in the opening hand. For example, against most aggro decks it will be too slow. But apart from that, we'll usually look for these units. Yearling, Sentry is decent in many matchups, and Everrosen Trapper. Props for this specific deck list go to G-Day Maverick, a longtime friend of mine who has recently returned to content creation. I'll leave his Twitch channel as well as his YouTube channel in the description. And I've had a blast with this deck. I've played it both in a charity tournament this weekend as well as on the ranked ladder, and it did help me climb pretty consistently. It did the exact same for G-Day Maverick. He hit Masters with this on like a 14-2 run or something like that. So the deck is well positioned in the current meta and is very strong, and also flexible with the tech choices depending on what you face a lot. And to show you how this deck can pop off, here are a bunch of gameplay examples. We can do this. These might be a bit slow in this matchup. I think keeping one is okay. Then again, yeah, I think keeping one is alright. If I wasn't playing against the burn deck, I would probably keep both. In this case, I can't really afford to. Not the best start, I have to admit.
Can you improve perfection? Join me if you want to live. Safety disengaged.
Burigging with no Ancient Yeti and with no 1-mana Yeti in deck kinda hurts. What is it called again? Enraged Yeti, that's it. Okay. Now we can probably start playing the game. I should probably keep one of the 3/3s back. Then again, I don't really... Fearsome blocker. The idea here is that I still threaten... Okay. If they would have blocked with a Ballistic Bot instead of the... Urchin or Boom Baboon. Okay, okay, okay. Yeti, nice. Now we can play the Abominable Guardian. Or rather, summon it from hand. Okay, looking good so far. So, ambush is scary. Can maybe close out the game next turn. Assessor to draw 2. Doesn't look bad.
Only the finest serve.
System upgrade.
Okay, we're not leveling Sion next round. But we're probably gonna have to close out the game, so it might be Yeti and 2-pack mentality or something like that. That's a weird play. Yeah, I think I like Yeti into pack mentality. What did my opponent discard? They did not discard. Okay, okay, that makes sense. I still feel like discarding Flame Chompers would have made more sense though for my opponent. Triple Ballistic Bot, somewhat scary. But we're forcing our opponent to trade most stuff away here. We know almost all of their hand though. Should be somewhat fine here. Okay, getting rid of the highest attacker as well means we almost guaranteed won't die on the backswing. Yeah, this is looking great. Sion will level very soon. And we still have blockers. Ooh. Also a great backup, a great defensive backup. Sure. This looks like a might, so I'm gonna block with the highest attack. Vision into concede. GG. Sentry doesn't really do much here. I guess Rearguard and Saboteur. Yeah, that probably justifies a keep. Yearling. Oh, damn it. Okay. They also whiff. We have a shot though. Yeah. As long as my opponent can't fervor. Okay, pretty decent opening for us. Into Trapper. I don't think it's worth attacking. My opponent can get a really good Brothers Bond block. And then I lose my Fearsome blocker. Nice.
No one's the wiser.
Can see the Demacian border from here.
Good players always draw the Yeti on turn 4. Yeah, it's fairly inefficient development for my opponent, which is very good for us. Their hands... Well, Brothers Bond... it's not that scary, actually. Bloody Business? Bloody Business is an interesting tech choice for this deck. I don't mind it. Just Yeti into end round. I mean, I draw Reckoning eventually. I'm seeing a significant lack of Darius in this deck. Can it really be called a meme deck? This one's probably the least memey out of the ones that I brought. I'm a bit surprised myself that it didn't get banned. Like, I could attack, but I'm really scared of Brother Spawn. Okay, now I don't care about Brother's Bond anymore. Like, my opponent has to swing in eventually. Or they'll try to collect 18 burn damage into the hand. Okay.
Ready the torches. Over there.
If it's just one copy of Brother's Bond, we're perfectly fine. Use this to preserve Nexus HP. We still get a very good Trifarian Assessor here.
Few earn the right to call themselves Trifarian.
Ooh, okay, this just closes out the game next round. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of overwhelm damage, and my opponent has no effective blockers. Can even play the Sentry before Pack Mentality. I mean, I guess Skitterer is a good defensive play. GG. Yeah, Darkness should be a very good matchup for us. Trapper. I don't mind keeping this, to be honest. We already have Trapper. Let's go. Sick. This is such a good hand for this matchup. We got the Psychopath blocker here. Tall Tales into Abominable. Actually, we want this for the next attack, right? We go Trapper first, then Tall Tales on turn 4. Not another one. Okay, this is an issue. Good player top decks though. Oh, this is nasty. Turn 4, double Yeti, spawn Abominable Guardian, maybe into Assessor. Oh my goodness. That's an opening. But no Culling Strike, no Reckoning means Veigar might screw us over. Does this version run freezes? 2. But I never found them when I needed them.
Come to witness my ingenuity, Lord Veigar. Stretching the legs, number 3. It's a tall people thing.
What did we catch?
No swing is very sus. Do you have stress defense in your hand?
Witness true power.
I don't think I care about Darkness growing anymore, do I? I think this actually attacks. If my opponent takes this block, we push more damage, we shuffle in Yetis, higher chance of drawing them with Assessor. Draw 3, I can still draw 3 after this swing. Even if I draw 2, it's good enough. Try to Shazam the background song. I mean, you'll find the playlists here. I just don't know what exact song it is. Culling strike.
Trifarian.
Oh, damn it.
I want my... and I want it.
Lord Veigar, you cannot rush perfection.
Brooches!
Let's go. Thank goodness we're gifted at card games. Did I see the Sion Yetis rework with Ionia? I saw it. I have my doubts whether it's actually solid. Bjerg should be better here. We can draw either Enraged Yeti or Abominable Guardian. Or we can brick. I don't know if that was correct. I could have played Assessor to look for pack mentality. Yeah, I don't want this to survive at 1 HP. Way too many pings on my opponent's side. Okay. God damn it, one draw too late. Not pushing enough damage right now. Pretty sure it's open attack though. I should have probably played the Yearling.
Hopeless, honestly.
That would have forced my opponent to block with Veigar.
Did you call me?
I didn't count it all the way through though. Might be Rekindler? Okay, that's very nice for me. I guess we're in a good spot after all. I never understand these people main decking Go Hard in Darkness. Like, if you want to main deck another ping, I feel like Group Shot just makes so much more sense.
The trap is set.
The tarp is set. Oh no, what do I do now? Go hard, let's see, I have infinite deck. How many games go to deck out in the current meta? When was the last time you decked out or you decked someone else out? For control matchups? Which control matchups go to deck out though? Go hard for healing? I think overall the slow speed healing is worth less than the fast speed group shot. HP wise. GG's. What did the Yeti deck do in the tourney? I think it got banned almost every time. Got banned 2 or 3 times out of the 4 series. And then it probably had a 2-1 score or something like that. Reckoning should be great in this matchup. Okay. Okay, didn't hit the troll chant, that's quite big. Need tips to climb quicker in rank. I mean, that stupid answer would be get better. I can't really tell you what you are doing wrong specifically without knowing you. What's like the most generic good advice would probably be something like play a fast deck and play a top tier deck that's somewhat fast. And then you get a lot of games in, and as long as you have a positive win rate, you will climb eventually. And the other thing, like if you... That is if you already assume you're a very good player and you just need to climb by getting games in. If you want to improve, the best way to do so is reading guides, taking coaching sessions, scrimming with other people, watching your own VOD replays, that type of stuff. More games means you get better quicker too. Not necessarily. Often slower games with combo or control decks will teach you more about the game than just jamming aggro games 10 times.
Persistence is key.
Can you tell me how to be successful in life? Now it's getting deep. Depends on how you define success.
My people are counting on me.
Might have... if my opponent plays Shelly, it's an easy reckoning. Women and money. Wow, I just leave that question unanswered. Yeah, this is... I mean, it's not even that good of a reckoning, like 3 units and 2 units on my side, but 2 hyper carry engines that definitely need to go. If you're not a good player or just lazy, wait till the end of the season. Plat Diamond will be full of not so master level players. Don't want to call him bad. Yeah, it's true. Like, climbing is easier towards the end of a season. Like the level of play. Alright. That's the only real counterplay to my reckoning. Is hitting top right, concede. Take it with dignity. I'm surprised by how often we're seeing this deck. Maybe keep a call for Caitlyn. My opponent has the attack token on turn 3. Like, Troll Chant's technically better. Call is fine though. Like, if I don't have a Trapper, I can't really Troll Chant. I watch a G-Day's recent video. No. No, I gotta admit I didn't. I'll be honest, I'm not finding the time to watch YouTube from other content creators, really. Except for some singular videos. I mean, a good player always top decks Trapper here. We can just pass. I might prank the Culling Strike. Okay, now it gets awkward. Ooh. Bit of a fork. If I play Sentry, they can still prank hit the Cull. If I play Cull, the Otter hits me for no reason. Do I believe in such Yetis? Yes, absolutely do. Did I watch Expired Sandwich's recent video? Is Expired Sandwich just disguised Toast 2.0? TLDR from Margin's video was basically that YouTube's better than Twitch in terms of money, but sponsorships are the best. Absolutely, yeah. 100% agreed. It's really hard to make money on Twitch. The advertisement payouts are absolutely atrocious. It's very top heavy, and Twitch takes a fairly large cut.
Have a mushroom. Have free.
Heard about you.
No, don't. Whew. Just don't open attack. Don't do it, develop a Caitlyn. Don't hit Reckoning. Easy dodge. Don't attack, don't attack. 50% of sub money is rough too. Yeah, YouTube gives the creators 70%, but it's very uncommon to sub on YouTube. Okay, fork again. Ah, damn it. I mean, at this point, it's just Culling Strike Teemo. Otherwise, if I play Reckoning, my opponent has another Teemo. I'm toast. Ooh, let's go. Okay. And now we hope my opponent doesn't have another Teemo. Reckoning just makes people concede. I love it. I love it. Unpopular opinion, Shell Focus not as strong as people say it is. No decks that use it are overperforming, therefore nerfing it is unwarranted. Yeah, very unpopular opinion. I think that card is fundamentally broken. And I think the decks are only not overperforming because the skill cap of Shell Focus is really, really high. And yeah, in the hands of the right players, Shell Focus beyond broken. At least in competitive play. What? Let's go. And also, yeah, it's just, it doesn't allow for fun play patterns. Okay, this is the full-on opposite of last game. Of the last mirror I played. Now we're just running people over. Unfun play patterns come from auto-repose? Well, yes and no. Mostly, yeah, I suppose. Auto-repose and pranks. Turn 3! This is my board on turn 3. What is this? A casual 12-14? And I get another 5-5 at the end of round. Didn't even use all my mana yet. Swing in maybe? Too bad. Oh, okay. Found a worthy foe.
Few earn the right to call themselves Trifarian. Only the finest serve.
Pretty sure we're yeeting everything in. Yeah.
I know a challenge when I see it.
Just need to set up everything so we win on the next swing. Ideally, we also find a pack mentality until then. Hold freeze for enemy Sion? It's a contemplation, but it's gonna take a while for Sion to be a threat. Like, especially if we're at 18, we can just let the dude hit us. I think this is one of those situations where it's best to... where, like, offense is the best defense. It's best to throw caution out of the window, because as long as we keep snowballing the board lead, there's no way our opponent pushes Nexus damage outside of Sion, and Sion on his own is not enough to close out the game. So we just go full tempo, full send. Pack mentality top deck. Close. Can find a Culling strike off of this for an overwhelm lethal. Close. How far from leveling Sion? 1 power.
Let's see what you've got.
Or 1 mana. Both. Imagine having to pay 4 mana for your draw 2. Rookie mistake.
Gotcha. Patience.
Alright, we got Sion flipped, but we don't need to play anything yet, only if our opponent forces us to.
What did we catch?
Alright, try me. Fight me, brother. Fight me. What a buzzer. Yeah, swinging into my rally is a bit peculiar. Is this what passes for war? Bold assumption? But yeah, I think one might say so. My opponent can still survive with a freeze. I just play pack mentality though. Just yeet it in there. Okay, now this is a scary board. Still paying 4 mana to draw 2 cards. Man, the Yeti mirror is so snowbally, it's crazy. That's still more than enough. Especially with this ensuring an overwhelm goes through. Close. GG's.